All right. So before we learn ABAP, let's get the context right. So we are trying to learn ABAP. So what is ABAP? ABAP stands for Advanced Business Application Programming, ABAP. So it's a programming language, right? Great. What is a programming language? If you're already aware of programming, just skip this chapter. But if you're not, please stay and you'll understand some of the fundamentals of ABAP. So we know that ABAP is a programming language. And for those of you without programming background, you have to first understand what is a programming language. It's like any other language. English, German, French, Spanish. It mostly resembles English. So if you're not from an English background, you'll have a tough time doing ABAP. But that's not a big deal. If you know the basics of English, that's more than enough. Now the question is, if you know English, is ABAP easy to learn? I would say yes. Now what does ABAP stand for? Advanced Business Application Programming. The key is business application. What do I mean by that? That means that it's not a general purpose programming language like Java or C. For example, Java can be used to write games. Think of Minecraft, right? That's written entirely in Java. Or Java can be used to write apps on Android. In fact, the entire Android operating system runs on Java. Or take your C language. The Windows operating system that I'm running on, it's built almost on C, the C language. Your iPhone is built on a language that's a variant of C, Objective-C. ABAP, on the other hand, cannot do any of that. It's designed only to run in the confines of an SAP environment. And it's designed specifically to run business application programming. Once again, I didn't answer the question, business application programming. What is so special about, or what is different about business application programming? Say a company like Philips has implemented SAP software to run their internal operations, right? We all know Philips. Imagine this scenario. The regional manager in Chicago, Philips Chicago, wants to know the total sales to date of a particular customer. Say how many light bulbs have been sold to a customer, say Walmart. How does he do it? So he logs on to the system, go to logistics, sales and distribution, go to master data, information systems, business partner, sales summary, and then enter your customer number, say 1400, whatever that customer is. Enter some other data that's related to the sales specific territory, right? Assume 1400 is Walmart here, and we are trying to search all the orders that he has placed ever since, right? Do you get that? This is the annual sales, 50 million, and the total number of employees and the telephone number, blah blah blah. It's called a fact sheet. But you get the point, right? This is an example of a business application. Let me take another example. Say the sales manager in Novartis, the pharma company, wants to know all the sales of a particular drug from day one. How does he do it? So you go back, and there is a program for that. Enter 1400, assume 1400 is Walmart, and click enter. Let's say the drug is a painkiller, right? it's coded as M01, just for example, right? And these are all the sales that have happened for that material M01, which is, let's say, a painkiller. You get the idea, right? Business application programming. The point that I'm trying to make here is ABAP is a business application programming language. Now, you might have a question here. If you do a transaction on, say, Amazon.com, isn't that an example of business? Can ABAP run behind the scenes to take that order? In all probability, not. To understand that, you have to orient your mindset to understand business to business scenarios. What do I mean by that? B2B as opposed to B2C. This is kind of diminishing fast, the difference between B2B and B2C. But SAP as a software is specifically built from the ground up for B2B transactions. There are specific versions of SAP that can run B2C, that can do B2C. It runs in banks, it runs in retail outlet. But for the most part, SAP is designed to be a B2B application. So you have to change your mindset to look at business and understand business from a B2B perspective. The reason why I say that is, in your day-to-day life, you never do B2B, right? Unless you are a businessman, you never do B2B, right? You take your car, go to your office, work for 8 hours, or go to your college, go to Starbucks, have a coffee, go buy a house, or go to a party like a disco. None of this stuff is B2B. This is all B2C. Even the purchases that you make on Amazon are B2C. They are not B2B. So business to consumer. These are all retail end user transactions. It could be e-commerce, it could be retail, it could be on the shop floor. All of these are retail transactions. Like I said, even buying a home is a retail transaction because you are an individual customer. You are not a business, right? So if you don't have any job experience, typically, you wouldn't understand B2B. Now, does that mean that Starbucks does not implement SAP? I don't know specifically about Starbucks, but it could very well implement SAP. If it's not doing that on the counter, where you go place your order for a latte, where is it being implemented? An example of a B2B transaction for Starbucks could be something like this. So there is Starbucks and there's Bank of America. And Starbucks installs coffee machines in Chicago's Bank of America branches, right? They supply the coffee machines, they supply the inventory like coffee beans, creamers, so on and so forth. And it's not a B2C transaction. This is an example of a B2B transaction. You get the point? Starbucks is a business. Bank of America is a business. It's a bank. It's a business. So it's a transaction from one business to another. Or you can take the procurement of coffee by Starbucks. Say Starbucks needs coffee beans. Where does it get it from? It doesn't get it from the individual farmer in Kenya or India, right? It goes through cooperatives. It goes through bulk buying procedures. And ultimately, that's again business to business, because Starbucks is buying coffee beans from some vendor who can supply coffee beans to Starbucks, and that is a business in itself. So business to business. So these are all examples of business to business transactions, and SAP, like I said, is specifically built to deal with B2B transactions. That doesn't mean you can't use SAP in a retail transaction. No, that's definitely not the case. For example, I have worked as an SD consultant for an auto major in Germany, where this car company, it's a major car company in Germany, and they have dealerships, right? So many different dealerships. Each dealership will have a counter, a computer thing that's connected to their main server. And here is SAP, and every time a customer like you and me go to the dealership, car dealership, place an order, it goes and resides in SAP. That order is placed actually in SAP. But the front end, the screen that you see, doesn't look anything like what you have seen just now in SAP. It's totally different. It's all on the web. So the interface is different, but the data and processing still is done out of SAP. So what's the point I'm trying to make? The point is, ERP software like SAP, it's not just SAP. In fact, SAP, Oracle Apps, JD Edwards, there are quite a number of ERP softwares, enterprise resource planning software. All of them are designed specifically for B2B. And it's not used typically to sell lattes or cappuccinos or sandwiches. Those are typically B2C. So now that we got our context right, let's see how this course is organized.